Cabinet subcommittee appointed to look into and report on attracting investors for the Hambantota port. President informed of the distillery being built in Calcutta. Case filed by the Bribery Commission against Johnston Fernando to proceed. Tense situation in Parliament. Hello there, very good evening and welcome to your Primetime News Bulletin. I'm Shane Silva.
And I'm Nicola D'Souza. We start off with our top story. UPFA parliamentarian Dinesh Gunawardena raised a question in Parliament today with regard to the activities of the UN Human Rights Council. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe responded.
In 2015, the UNHRC passed a resolution which is harmful to our country. The resolution, which was co-sponsored by Sri Lanka, also includes clauses to establish a hybrid court with foreign judges, foreign lawyers and investigators. The time period set through the 2015 resolution, which was agreed to by the government and the foreign minister, is due to conclude. The government is now preparing to co-sponsor a similar resolution at the UNHRC today or tomorrow. Through this, it shows that Sri Lanka is once again agreeing to the harmful aspects of the 2015 resolution. So we question whether the government will go ahead with this resolution. Read the entire thing, don't stop halfway. There are two parts of the resolution. One is a report by the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights. The report speaks of joining the International Criminal Court and the establishment of a hybrid court. We have noted the High Commissioner's report and thanked him. This is all we have done. It also says that we will implement the mechanism that we suggested through the 2015 resolution, which is a truth-seeking commission. After 2009, members of the former government went to New York and agreed to file charges.
ගිය ආණ්ඩුවේ නියෝජිතයන් ගිහින් නිව්යෝක් නගරයට ගිහ එකඟ වුණා නඩු දාන්න කියලා. ඔව් දැන් ඊළඟට 2000 ඊට පස්සේ ඒ නඩු දාන එක යටතේ ෆීල්ඩ් මාෂල් සරත් ෆොන්සේකාව ඇදගෙන ගිහින්.
Thereafter, under these agreements, they dragged away Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca and imprisoned him.
ඊට පස්සේ ගරු කතානායකතුමනි GL Peiris මහතුමා.
In 2014, GL Peiris went to Geneva and said that we will move forward with the Muttur and Trincomalee cases. Those are the only cases that have been filed. I cannot help them when they are scared. We have said that we will not place foreign judges in our courts. We will not create a hybrid court. The President also expressed this stance. I will state it in this chamber today, we will not create such bodies. The Constitution has given prominence to the Parliament and the judiciary. We can only create such a court through a constitutional amendment. However, such an amendment will have to be approved through a referendum. Are you ready to apologize to Sarath Fonseca?
දැන් මං පළමුවෙන්ම අහනවා මං අහන්නේ පළමුවෙන්ම ඔබ ලෑස්තිද සරත් ෆොන්සේකාගේ සමාව ඉල්ලන්න මේක යටතේ ඒක මට කියන්න ඔබ ලෑස්තිද කවුද සුදු කොටි නඩිය දැම්මේ අපි නෙමෙයි අපි දැම්මේ නඩුවන්නේ නැහැ. දරෝ දිනේෂ් ගුණවර්ධන මහත්මයා අපිට වාදයකට යන්න බෑ. මම වාදයකට යන්නේ නැහැ. ප්‍රයිම් මිනිස්ටර්ගෙන් අහුවේ එකම දේ මෙච්චරයි.
How did a minister sign such an agreement in violation of the Constitution? That is why the President stated that he will not appoint foreign judges. The Prime Minister should respond to my question.
ඒක තමයි ජනාධිපතිතුමා කිව්වේ මම පත් කරන්නේ නැහැ විදේශ නඩුකාරවරු. ඒ අගමැතිතුමා මේ ප්‍රශ්නෙට උත්තරය දෙන්න.
If you agree with the President, then why don't you come and sit on this side? The report of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights on Sri Lanka will be taken up at the UNHRC tomorrow. Speaking at the UNHRC sessions in Geneva last night, former parliamentarian Rear Admiral Sarath Weerasekara expressed the following views.
The resolution 30/1 against Sri Lanka was based on OISL report of the High Commissioner with war crime charges. The Foreign Minister of Sri Lanka, without the approval of the President and the Cabinet, accepted the report and co-sponsored the resolution with USA. I am tabling two reports, one in which the world-renowned experts have clearly mentioned that we have never committed war crimes, and the other prepared by an eminent board vetted by the former Chief Justice proving how the High Commissioner report seriously flawed with contradictions, omissions and lies. We had in our country was a non-international armed conflict, and the applicable laws are the international humanitarian law and not the international human rights law. When you apply the IHL, it is very clear that it was the LTTE and not the SLF troops who did commit war crimes. We request the United Nations General Assembly to assign a special rapporteur to investigate the matter, impose a moratorium on UNHRC from pursuing the resolution any further till such investigation is completed. It is a pity that UNHRC, which kept a blind eye when LTT was using human shields and child soldiers, is now levelling war crime charges on the very troops which destroyed the LTT and protected the human rights of all. It is a typical example of double standard and hypocrisy.
Speaking in Parliament today, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe spoke on legislation regarding Treasury bills and Treasury bonds.
Under Section 4, the Minister in charge of the subject of finance shall, in respect of each loan to be raised, specify by order published in the Gazette how much is the amount of money to be raised, the modes of raising the rates, all the details. And according to Section 5, it's only after the Gazette the order is gazetted that the registrar can then take steps to raise the loans. Now this procedure had been followed for some time, but it transpired in the Commission that we have not followed it for some time. In fact, we have been raising the loans and then only gazetting it at the end of the year. Now this has started from 1999. So coming out of it, what we want to do is we are bringing legislation. Under that legislation, we will bring in a new, first we will be following this procedure as in the ordinance, but we will bring new legislation. We have asked the Attorney General to look at it and the legal draft to draft it. The new legislation will set up a new procedure where once the Minister takes a decision, it will be advertised in the papers, and maybe for the House is in charge of public finance, we can inform the House of those advertisements, giving us the flexibility also of raising the amount specified, or a lesser amount or a high amount. So we are doing that. Then we are also bringing the legislative provision on two other issues. One is declaring legal all the treasury bills that have been issued so far. The other issue is the private placement. Now we have also had private placement of bonds. According to, of course, when this government came, we had made a public commitment not to have private placement, have public auctions, and to use some other transparent system. Nevertheless, private placements have taken place, and it came out in the inquiries that there was no formal decision even on private placement.
We now cross over to Zulfiq Fazan, who has been covering the proceedings of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry from day one. Today is the 19th day of the sitting. Zulfiq, what news do you have for us?
Well, thank you, Shane. Day 19 was apparently a very interesting day at the Presidential Commission of Inquiry. Now, what exactly happened today? On day 19 of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry, former Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Arjuna Mahindan, was present at the Commission. But this was not to give evidence before the Commission, but to merely observe the proceedings of the Commission. Now, in addition, President's Counsel Ramesh De Silva, representing former Governor of the Central Bank Arjuna Mahindan, made an application that Arjuna Mahindan be entitled to the copies of the Mantri Board minutes during his tenure as the Central Bank Governor. Now, however, Additional Solicitor General, President's Counsel Dakula de Oliveira, objected to this application, citing that these documents are official documents. Now, with regard to the presence of former Governor of the Central Bank, Arjuna Mahindan, at the Commission said that as his attorneys had made representations to the Commission under Section 16, he is entitled to be present, without which a witness cannot be in the court premises whilst another witness testifies. Moreover, the Attorney General's Department today said that a Central Bank staffer in Anuradha was released to the National Savings Bank while in the service of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. Now, when asked about this, H.A. Karunaratne, the secretary to the Monetary Board, said that during his tenure in the Central Bank, he had never come across any such situation. Then finally, today, it was revealed that H.A. Karunaratne, while serving as the Secretary to the Monetary Board of Sri Lanka, was removed from his position as the Secretary to the Monetary Board of Sri Lanka by Governor Mahindran, citing of an alleged attempt to table and distribute a letter given to Karunaratne by a bank union, citing concerns about the appointment of a senior deputy governor. However, he was later reinstated by the new governor to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy, after his appointment. That's the proceedings from day 19. Shane, it's back to the studio.
Thank you, Zulfik, for that update. Now, Zulfik, you are the man on the ground with regards to the story. What is the general atmosphere when these proceedings are taking place?
Well, Shane, that was a good question. This morning there was a little bit of tension in the courtroom with comments being made from the representation from our Governor, Aujana Mahindran, former Governor to be exact, Aujana Mahindran, and also from the Attorney General's Department. However, things were settled later on and the proceedings continued.
Zulfik, today was day 19, tomorrow is day 20. What can we expect tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow on day 20, H.A. Karunaratne, the Secretary to the Monetary Board, is to continue giving evidence before the Commission. Now, what's important is that tomorrow, the draft minutes from the Monetary Board meeting dated 23rd February 2015, that's days before the impugned Treasury bond auction dated 27th February 2015, will be tabled before the Commission tomorrow. And tomorrow I will be at the Commission and I'll be prepared to bring you all the details. Back to you.
Thank you, Zulfik, for that update. Moving on to other local stories now. President Maithripala Sirisena will leave for Russia tomorrow on an official invitation made by Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Russia was founded in 1991 after the dissolution of the Soviet Union and is at present one of the most powerful economies in the world. Russia is probably richer in natural resources than any other country in the world, with oil and gas exports specifically continuing to be the main source of hard currency. Vladimir Putin is the present president of Russia. Relations between Sri Lanka and Russia came into existence even during the time of the USSR. Though Sri Lanka adopted a non-aligned protocol in the early 1990s after the end of the Second World War, strong relations were maintained with Russia during the SWR Bandaranaike and Sirimavu Bandaranaike administrations. As a result, Sri Lankan industries boomed with Russian cooperation, while Russia is the #1 purchaser of Sri Lankan tea. The upcoming visit will be the first official visit to Russia by a Sri Lankan leader since 1974, when Prime Minister Sirimavu Bandaranaike visited Moscow. Russian President Vladimir Putin extended this invitation to President Maithripala Sirisena during the Goa summit. During the visit, President Sirisena is scheduled to have meetings with many of the Russian senior leadership. The President is also scheduled to attend a ceremony organized to mark the 60th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries. Extensive discussions are to take place on trade and investments between both countries, and a review on bilateral relations is also due to take place. Sri Lanka and Russia are to sign several bilateral agreements in the areas of economics, trade, tourism, science and technology, cultural and education cooperation. The President will be accompanied by Ministers Mangala Samaravira, S.B. Navinna and several others.
Here's a look at several key judicial proceedings of the day.
The Colombo High Court rejected the revision application filed by MP Bimal Virwansa, who is currently in remand custody. Virwansa is charged with the misuse of 40 vehicles obtained from the Presidential Secretariat under lease agreement. The vehicles had been obtained on the pretext of them being used for the State Engineering Corporation. Virwansa is charged over the distribution of the said vehicles among his family members and supporters of the National Freedom Front. The financial loss caused by this is estimated at 91.8 million rupees. Presently, Bimal Virwansa has been remanded until the 3rd of April.
This country has been transformed into an era where political vengeance is at heights we have never seen before. Ironically, the former governor of the central bank, who stole 66 million through the bond scam, has been given a promotion and he has been made as the head of the 1 million jobs program. This country has been transformed into one that persecutes parliamentarians, who are the individuals elected to represent the people of this nation.
Colombo Chief Magistrate Lal Ranasinghe Bandara today ordered that the case filed by the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption against former Minister Johnston Fernando be taken up for examination on the 26th of May. The Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption filed the case against the former minister with regard to his failure to disclose the asset statements for a period of 5 years during which he was a member of the parliament. The magistrate also issued an order summoning the witnesses of the case to appear before court on the 26th of May. The Army intelligence officer who was arrested in connection with the assault carried out on journalist Keith Noah has been remanded until the 30th of March. According to the police headquarters, the 35-year-old Army intelligence officer, who is a resident of Minuangoda, was arrested at around 9:35 last night by the Criminal Investigations Department. Journalist Keith Noah was assaulted on the 22nd of May 2008. Several Army intelligence officers who are also arrested in connection to this incident are currently in remand custody.
A stop to alcohol was one of the key promises made by the government of good governance.
However, who owns the alcohol distillery that is proposed for construction in Calcutta Batiklo?
The question is, who approved it? The Sunday Times reported recently that Arjun Aloysius's liquor-producing firm W.M. Mendes and Company has proposed to construct a distillery at Calcutta in the Batiklo district. The official website of W.M. Mendes & Co. shows that the chairman of the organisation is Arjun Joseph Aloysius. He is the son-in-law of former governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Arjuna Mahendran, who is at the centre of the Treasury bond controversy. Allegations were levelled that through the Treasury bond scam, the country's employee provident fund suffered a loss of 15 billion rupees. Incidentally, the loss the country suffered as a whole as a result of the bond scam is monumental, exceeding over 200 billion rupees. Arjuna Mahendran, who is accused of causing such a monumental loss to the country, was awarded an advisory position at the Ministry of Finance. In such a backdrop, how was government permission granted for a new alcohol distillery?
If you look at the issues of the people in the north, the economy has suffered a massive blow. Several sections of the Ministry of Finance must be held responsible for this. I'm speaking of the industries and the alcohol industry. If this distillery is allowed to operate, it will have an impact on the Palmyra alcohol. The President is aware of that. We have informed him about that. He said he will take action. Based on the information that we have, some have been given concessions on the sly. That must also be investigated. No, Cabinet has taken a decision that no permits will be issued for liquor stores. We are against that. Do not condone it. How can they be given tax concessions? Is this their property? This is the property that needs to be distributed among the people. Why are companies that have played around with the tax money given tax concessions? What is this privatization? It is wrong for them to play games with the country's economy.
Recently, reports surfaced that Perpetual Treasuries Private Limited has used its funds as investments to launch media companies and that other electronic and print media are in fear of them. What we say is this. The media has always stood for the people of this country. The media will face those challenges fearlessly and will continue to engage in reporting to ensure that justice is served to the people. A certain group obstructed journalists who had visited the area to report on the construction site of the proposed distillery in Calcutta. The group had attempted to assault the journalists and a complaint has been lodged with the Erawur police. The Erawur and Calcutta police have commenced investigations.
In response to an inquiry made by Newsfirst in terms of the Right to Information Act directed to the Ministry of Telecommunications and Digital Infrastructure, the ministry noted that the tenure of the CEO of ICTA has been extended.
The letter further states that a memorandum of understanding was signed between ICTA, Google Loon LLC and its affiliates Lotus Flare Holdings Limited and Rama Corporation. Newsfirst also inquired into the salary particulars of the CEO of ICTA. The letter notes that the salary particulars of the CEO are pursuant to a contract which is private and confidential to the person with whom the contract has been signed, and release of this information would amount to unwarranted invasion of privacy. Newsfirst inquired into these details in public interest.
Details are emerging of yet another possible malpractice which is on the verge of taking place. The Sunday Observer has revealed that a multi-million-dollar tender is to be awarded to American multinational conglomerate General Electric to purchase 12 locomotives for service in the upcountry routes.
According to the Sunday Observer, the Sri Lankan Railways plans to import 12 7FDL diesel engines from General Electric or GE for use in the upcountry service line. First built in 1956, the 7FDL diesel engines are no longer manufactured for use on US railroads. They are, however, still built for export and used in third world countries. The Sunday Observer reports that globally, the 7FDL engines have experienced catastrophic failures that have resulted in significant damage and locomotive fires across the globe. The article alleges that the tender specifications were inexplicably weighted towards those of the GE engine to limit the number of eligible bidders. Sunday Observer also notes that the GE engines are considerably more expensive, adding that the quoted price for 12 locomotives is at least $10 million more than its North American counterpart. It has also been reported that the locomotives are being sold to Sri Lanka at a price which is around 36 to 64% more than that of similar GE engines that were purchased by Indonesia recently. Newsfirst has also learned that there are issues relating to transparency behind the tender process.
A cabinet subcommittee has been appointed by the President to look into and report on attracting investors for the Hambantota port. The subcommittee was appointed during the cabinet meeting held today.
A decision was made at the meeting held today with regard to attracting investors for the Hambantota port. The President has monitored and studied this situation very closely and instructed that a cabinet subcommittee be appointed to look into this matter further. As a result, a cabinet subcommittee comprising of Ministers Arjuna Ranatunga, Dr. Sarath Amunugama, Susil Premajayantha, Partli Champika Ranavaka and Faiza Mustafa were appointed. The aim of this committee is not to sell off the Hambantota port, rather find means of attracting investors to it. This was the task given to this committee.
The ministers appointed to the cabinet subcommittee include
Arjuna Ranatunga, Dr. Sarath Amunugama, Partli Champika Ranavaka, Susil Premajayantha and Faiza Mustafa.
General Chang Wan-kwon, the State Councillor and Minister of National Defence of the People's Republic of China, visited the Defence Services Command and Staff College at Sapugaskanda this morning. He was warmly received by Major General Amal Karunasekara, the Commandant of the college. General Chang Wan-kwon introduced members of his visiting delegation to senior officers in the Defence Services Command and Staff College as a courtesy and watched a brief presentation on the roles and tasks of the DSCSC and its curriculum. Commandant Major General Amal Karunasekara presented a special memento with the college's crest to General Chang Wan-kwon. Several tri-service officers at the DSCSC were present at the occasion together with members of the Chinese delegation.
In a tragic incident, a student who was preparing to sit for her GCE advanced level examinations this year also turned victim to the deadly dengue virus. She was a resident of Rajanganaya.
It was on the 11th of this month that she had taken ill and was admitted to the Nochiagama hospital, following which she was transferred to the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital when doctors confirmed that she had contracted dengue. This is the third to fall victim to dengue in the Anuradhapura district.
She aspired to become a doctor when she grew up and serve this country. She was determined to pass the exams and be a doctor.
Meanwhile, getting down to numbers, 23,000 dengue-related cases were reported during the past 3 months.
Speaking to News First, the National Dengue Control Unit expressed these views.
Over the years in Sri Lanka, we only had virus under types 1 and 4. At present, we have the type 2 of the virus. That is why large numbers have contracted this virus because there is less immunization. The change is in the virus type. The spread of the disease increases when there is a change in the virus type. Dengue can come in 4 forms. Our immunization serves one type at a time. You can even contract the other types as well.
The National Dengue Control Unit requested the public to sought medical assistance if one contracts the fever. Along with the rapid spread of dengue in the Trincomalee area, steps have been taken to deploy 350 civil defence personnel to curb the spread of the disease. Moreover, the number of dengue patients that have been admitted to the Kinya hospital has reached 139, along with another 40 patients being admitted today. Area residents were subject to blood tests today at a medical camp set up at the Kinya Al-Adan school.
The Gamada medical program that was initiated last evening to provide relief to families affected by dengue reached Kenya today.
The team distributed essentials which include mosquito nets, mosquito rackets, coils and milk powder to several villagers which come under the Kenya Divisional Secretariat. Awareness was also created aiming the public as to how measures could be taken to curb the disease. Meanwhile, another group carrying aid left from Colombo this morning. The team will reach Trincomalee today and distribute goods to those affected by the deadly dengue epidemic. President Maithripala Sirisena handed over letters of appointment to 3 new electorate organisers of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party for the Balapitiya, Akmimana and Rathgama electorates of the Galle district at the Presidential Secretariat today.
Accordingly, Dayaratna De Silva has been appointed as the SLFP Balapitiya electorate organiser, while UGD Arya Tilaka was appointed as the SLFP organiser for the Akmiman electorate. Amarasiri Kuruage is the new organiser of the SLFP Rathgama electorate. Dayaratna De Silva served as the chairman of the Balapitiya Pradeshiya Sabha, while UGD Arya Tilaka served as a minister of the Southern Provincial Council. Meanwhile, Amarasiri Kuruage has previously served as a member of a provincial council.
Lumbini College Colombo recorded an innings and 9-wicket comprehensive win against Bandaranaike College Gampaha in the 47th annual Battle of the Evergreen Big Match encounter. Played at the Coles Cricket Club, Bandaranaike College won the toss and invited Lumbini College to take first lease of the wicket. Lumbini College posted 237 runs all out in their first innings, with Kevin Pearce top scoring with 80 runs. Himat Hansana and Janindu Jayawardena bagged 3 wickets each for Bandaranaike College. In response, the lads from Gampaha could only post 108 runs all out in their first innings and took to bat again to avoid an innings loss. However, they were restricted to 130 runs in their second innings, giving Lumbini College a comprehensive win. This was incidentally the second time Lumbini College Colombo won the big match encounter.
We often hear reports of wild elephant attacks on human settlements, but today we bring you a report from Galen Bindunuwava, where wildlife officers rescued 3 elephants, including a calf, out of an agrarian well.
Following a 5-hour rescue operation, the wildlife officers released 2 of the elephants back to the Ritigala and Peruava reserves and took the elephant calf into their custody.